Season 2, we got lethal difficulty, and it is no joke. It is at least 2 times harder than I thought it was going to be. We'll get into some things you have to expect and just some overall tips about what is going to happen to you while you are running through one of these operations and what you should do to keep yourself alive. First up, staying in range of your teammates is essential and vital no matter what, because it is the only way you're going to be able to gain back your armor from executions and different things like that. So you notice the bar on the bottom of my screen right now, it just dropped, went from white to red. When it's red like that, I will not gain armor back from any of my executions, and it is not a big distance. I would say it is about 10 yards, maybe 15 yards max, that you are getting armor back. So you really have to be communicating with your team and kind of working the enemies to certain choke points on the map that you guys discuss, and then stay in that choke point until everything is dead. Do not move too far ahead of yourself, or you will get yourself killed for sure in this difficulty. Next up, we have, let me see, what do we want to talk about? We'll go with Enraged Majors. So for the Enraged Majors, you'll notice them by a big red glow around their head. The main thing I noticed about them is they do not suffer a knockback, and if they do, it is a very, very small knockback. So you are not going to really want to utilize your knockbacks against these enraged enemies. You're going to want to more dodge and parry them and just attack when you can. So really be careful for those guys. Another thing that is extremely hard to deal with, and which makes this one of tougher than what I thought it was going to be, is when the extremists spawn. Now 2 of them spawn. And, you know, certain extremists are really, really tough to deal with, especially when you have a lot of majors around them. So right when you see one, call it out to your team, and you know that you're going to have not 1 but 2 to deal with instead, and they usually spawn multiple times throughout your operation. It takes 5 minutes now to revive. So you can die, get revived once by your teammate, and then when you die again, it's going to take you 5 minutes to get back. That is an extremely long time. I don't think the points on the map that used to instant revive people out of their death timer, I don't think those are working. I think I hit a few of those in the operation while my teammates were dead, and they did not come back. So remember that 5 minutes, extremely long time to be out of the fight. So we can get into some gameplay of an operation that I completed on Lethal and kind of go through what I did right, what I did wrong. You can learn from my mistakes, and I'll kind of walk through it, and we'll go... We'll see how it turned out. Like I said, so much harder than I thought it was going to be. A lot of fun, but be prepared. It's hectic. All right, we'll go to the end of Ballistic Engine here on lethal difficulty and just kind of go through about what you're really wanting to do. As you see right there, I'm kind of trying to show how far, you know, right there, I'm not getting armor back. So you already know you cannot be that far from your teammates at all. And that's the only reason I was really running away from them. I wanted to test that out and really see how it was working and show you guys how close you really have to be to your teammates in this. As you see, I'm saying like what, 15, maybe 15 yards max, but I think like more like 10. They might have it at like 10 meters. So for my operation, because this is going to be very important if you have like a bulwark on your team or something, you're really going to want to stay by your bulwark and make sure that he can utilize his executions and he can always get his armor back. Because he is the person that's in there fighting with his melee weapons and is really, really utilizing really all of his executions to make sure he can stay alive and keep all the aggro on him. So usually in the lethals, I kind of like to follow the bulwark around and kind of assist what he is doing, especially if nobody, like right here, nobody was talking on my team, which is the case quite often that I run into. So you're really going to want to just stay by your team and follow them. Even if you think they're doing something that's not really something that you would do normally, you're still going to want to follow them into it, because without it, you're going to die, they're going to die, it's just not going to work out. So if nobody is communicating, really try to at least pick one person to really stay by and follow. And I would suggest trying to pick the better player of the two. Oh, yeah, I think at the end of this operation, it was kind of laid back. We'll see what it really gets into. But this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be, guys. Throw down in the comments if this is harder than you thought. Right here, like I told you earlier, there's one extremist, so there has to be another one somewhere. He's got to pop up, because there's always 2 now on this difficulty, which is just insane to deal with. And then just really keep an eye on that bar down there, because you really don't know when your teammates are moving away from you, and then it's really going to get you in trouble. Right there's that's the second Extremis right there. And then when the Extremis mark on the map, you gotta realize, like, when people start getting low on health and stuff like that, that's when you really have to keep an eye on where your teammates are, because if they start getting low on health, you know what a lot of people do, they're going to start diving and moving around and trying to get themselves to a safe position on the map, and that could really be detrimental to you trying to stay alive, gaining your armor back. So that bar, they put it in a good spot. You can really always see it. I didn't have much problems recognizing it, and you just have to be conscious of it and really pay attention to it, and that's what's going to really help you out a lot. We haven't ran into any enraged enemies yet. It does actually happen quite often when you get... Oh, right there's one when I was talking about it. So you can see on their head. Now I'm going to see if I hit them with a knockback. Even if you hit them with, like, the melter rifle. Right there I was trying to hit them and I targeted on the wrong thing. But even if you hit them with, like, the melter rifle, if you... I don't know about the kick. I can't remember the kick. So I was really hoping I got that kick right there, but I didn't. But melter rifle... knockbacks from your sword, your combos like your kick and your stomp, they do not knock those enemies back, so you really have to be careful and not expect them to get knocked back from it. So really watch out for them. As you see, when it got all crazy right there, probably a mistake I made. I really didn't keep an eye on the bulwark. I didn't even know what he was doing, because I really got into, like, my own zone right there. So he got pretty far away from me. So just, like I said, that is, like, really going to be the most important thing of this, because if you cannot gain your armor back, you just can't survive the onslaught of enemies that they are throwing at you during this. And like I said, this right here is actually laid back. I've been in some of them where it is crazy. I should have picked a different video. Maybe I'll do a full video operation to where I do the whole thing. I'll just, like, kind of fast forward through the walking parts. But honestly, in lethal, there is not many boring, you're just walking around parts. It is very intense from start to finish. So if you're kind of trying to have, like, a chilled, laid-back game where this is not the difficulty for that. Everybody has to be on their A game to really get through this. I had some really good teammates right here. The bulwark was really good. I think I died once in this, and he stayed alive. So you know what I'm saying? It's really going to be a team effort here. I'm going to start trying to do some of these on solo, so I can maybe make some solo guides to how to get through this. But I'm not gonna lie, I did 2 when it first dropped, and I went about a quarter of the way through the first time and about halfway through the second time before I got overwhelmed by just bosses and majors and just way too many things going on the screen that I could not control at all. And I didn't have the damage output to really deal with it, so I'm going to have to adjust my gameplay style, really find out how to use the bots to make that type of guide. But I am going to do that. I'll probably have that in a couple days here. But there we go, man. We went through the operation.